Hi, everybody. This is Jake Elaruzzo, Sales and Marketing Assistant here at Sports Traveler. I want to welcome you to today's How to Sell Football Travel webinar. Just to do a quick little rundown of what we're going over today, we're going to be covering some of the essentials for football travel packages. We'll go over what's included in those, discuss a few of the top programs we offer, also view a few sample packages, talk about some top games for the upcoming season, and then we'll conclude the webinar with a live Q&A that's going to take place. So if you have any questions, you can actually submit those if you're watching via YouTube. We do have a live chat that's active. So if you want to post any questions on there, I'll get through as many of those as I can at the end of the webinar. So let's just jump right into it. Football travel packages. So these are for professional football games. It's the best way to allow your client to see their favorite teams throughout the season. These travel packages are commissionable to you as a travel agent. So you are able to earn commission 7% if paid by credit card, 10% if paid by check or wire transfer. And just to let you know, we do offer increased commission for members that graduate our Sports Traveler Academy program. If you want more information on that education program, it's free to sign up. You would just go to sportstraveler.net, navigate to the travel planners area, and from there you can enroll in Sports Traveler Academy, also known as STA. So I do invite you to join the program, earn increased commission, and get further education opportunities through us. As well, our football travel packages are all-inclusive tours and include everything your client will need for an enjoyable trip, and we cover all major NFL teams in these packages. So what are a few selling points you could take back to your clients? Sports travel packages make the perfect bucket list trip. We have a lot of people that reach out to us every year, and they make a football travel package the one trip they're going to do for the entire year. So this is their family vacation. As well, these sports travel packages make a great gift. I know that we have had a lot of people recently booking a lot of these programs for a Father's Day gift, but we also get it for birthdays, holidays, just about anything that has like a celebration in life. A lot of people choose sports travel and they choose football travel as that gift to give. So it's one thing you can kind of tell people is that it makes a really good gift for someone that likes a certain football team. And we make the travel as easy as possible. So with our trips, we always have a tour or staff rep that's on call while your client is on site. We provide very easy to follow itineraries for all of our football programs. So once they get there, we'll take good care of them. We'll make sure it's as easy and simple as possible, and you don't have to worry about anything once your client goes on the trip. One other thing to point out, these are family friendly. So this is an all ages program. All the programs we'll go over today are appropriate for all ages. So if people want to bring the full family, bring children along, that's totally fine. The entire family is welcome on it. And one other bonus thing, our packages are customizable. So you can customize these trips. We can make it fit what your client might be looking for. There's a lot of flexibility with it. So if what you see on the first go around isn't exactly what your client might be looking for, we can work with them to try to make sure it fits what it is that they're looking for, whether it's certain ticket upgrades or add-ons or additional nights. We're very flexible and want to make sure it works for you and your client. One big thing we are highlighting this year that is new and upcoming in the NFL is the beginning of mobile ticketing. The majority of teams now in the NFL use this system. This is a little bit different than your traditional printed home ticket that you might be more used to. The printed home system, it used to be you could print the ticket from a PDF and you take it with you. That is gone now, and what we have is mobile ticketing. With mobile ticketing, you will need a smartphone in order to accept your ticket and have the ticket be scanned from that smartphone. So in order to use a mobile ticket, you need a smartphone with internet access. As you can see here, a flip phone could not be used for a mobile ticket because most flip phones do not allow that type of internet use. Usually they're pretty basic, so you need something like an iPhone or an Android phone. And in an instance where you may have a client that doesn't have a smartphone or they might have a little bit of difficulty with this, call our office immediately. Let us know. We could do a lot in terms of walking them through how to accept a ticket transfer and how to answer their questions on mobile ticketing. The other thing too in some cases, the venue does allow the ability to print a paper ticket on the day of the event. A few venues do this as well. That's one other option. So, it's something that's definitely new for this year. We want to be, as accessible as possible with this new ticketing system that's being used, and we're happy to answer any questions on it. And one other thing is when you do accept tickets that are mobile, most of the time the venue that the client is traveling to will have a app. With that app, the client would just need to download that, and they could actually use that mobile app to pull up the tickets and view them and interact with them and have them get scanned. If there is any other questions, or if you want a more of a succinct tutorial on mobile ticketing, we actually had just recently hosted a mobile ticketing webinar. It's a nice little short video that goes through how mobile ticketing works. If you go to actually the description in this video, I've linked to the mobile ticketing webinar, so that's a good thing to go back to and watch if you still have some questions on mobile tickets. All right, now let's go into what's included in a base travel package. So for a football travel package, these are usually the essentials you'll find in almost every program, and that's going to be hotel lodging, tickets to the game, tailgate party, stadium tours, and local city excursions, which of course is dependent on what city your client might be traveling to. So that's, the essential things you'll typically find in every football travel package. From here, let's just go into what kind of programs we offer that are professional football related. We cover all the league's top teams and matchups. This will include the NFL International Series, which is the series that's played in London, the 2020 Super Bowl that is being played at Hard Rock Stadium outside of Miami this year. And we can also customize any travel options to fit any game date. So if you don't necessarily find the travel package on our website immediately, we can still custom build it for your client to make sure we have a program available to them that they can go and travel to. Now, here we are with our regular season map. I like to show this every year we do this webinar because I think it's really fascinating to see, no matter where you live in the United States, if you're based in the US or really anywhere in North America, there is football fandom near you. So no matter where you operate, even if you don't have a professional team in the city right next to you, there's a fan base in your area you can market to. So one thing I always suggest every year for, people viewing the webinar is, take the time out to look into who lives in your area, what team flags do you see watch parties taking place, because that's the information you'll need to know in terms of marketing this to your clients. You want to find out who lives here, what type of fans are they, and what do they want to do, and what games do they want to travel to. And the other thing is, you may think to yourself, okay, well, I live near Chicago by some Bears fans. What do I do in that instance? Well, I don't want to take them to Chicago. They live right there. But those Bear fans want to travel to away games. So you want to market those games to destinations where Bears fans want to go. A big one off the top of my head, if you are in the Chicagoland area, is the Bears are playing in the International Series this year. So that's a great opportunity to market a trip to the United Kingdom for them to go see the Bears play in London. Now let's go into the big event of the year, which is the Super Bowl. In 2020, Hard Rock Stadium will be the host of the Super Bowl. Hard Rock Stadium is just situated just outside of Miami. The date of the big game is February 2nd, 2020. We will be offering 3 4-night programs with hotels close to Hard Rock Stadium. Locations include Fort Lauderdale, downtown Miami, South Beach, and other locations nearby. Packages do include a reserved Super Bowl ticket, round-trip transportation to the Super Bowl, and there's a lot of great add-ons we could look into, such as adding round-trip airfare, Super Bowl pregame tailgate party options, parties for Super Bowl Eve, so some of those hard-to-get-into parties you might have clients interested in, we could help with that. Tee times at some of the top local golf courses in the Miami area, spa and wellness appointments, local area excursions, and team building activities. So there's a lot to it that we can add to our Super Bowl program. Typically right now we do have packages that are available. So if you have maybe corporate incentive that books through your agency a lot, this is a really good thing you could pitch to them and suggest to them doing a trip to the Super Bowl. In terms of the fan travel side of things, you will get people that no matter what teams play in the big game, game, they want to go and travel to it. Though for fans that are rooting for a certain team in this game, typically you're going to see them come out of the woodwork near AFC NFC Championship weekend. That's about 2 weeks before the Super Bowl. So when that takes place, you may want to follow if your team's doing really well. If your team makes it to one of those championship games, which is the play-in for the Super Bowl, you definitely want to make yourself readily available to take bookings because, it's a very short booking window between the championship game and then the Super Bowl, and you want to make sure you capture that order before the client walks away and finds someone else to make the booking. So make yourself available, pay attention to who's doing well in the season and who might play in the game, and from there you can market appropriately. The other big travel program we have for this year is the NFL International Series. This is going to be a series of 4 games that are played in London at 2 of the city's most iconic stadiums. The first one being Wembley Stadium, and the second one being the recently built Tottenham Stadium. Each one is going to have 2 games take place there. And the Tottenham Stadium games are the Bears Raiders, as well as the Panthers Buccaneers. And then the Wembley games are the Bengals versus Rams and Texans versus Jaguars. One thing I always tell people about the International Series is if you see your team on this page right now, I would definitely suggest immediately marketing this game in your agency because this is definitely a big event that draws a lot of fans out. A lot of people, it's kind of a once in a lifetime opportunity to travel overseas. Very rarely do you get to see your team play in another country. So fan interest is always really high for these matchups. The other thing I like to point out too is if you have a client going to one of these games, it's like the best opportunity for you to upsell your client on some of your best European vacation packages, any type of like extensions to go to Scotland, Ireland. We have a lot of people that travel to France after the International Series game as well. So there's a lot of flexibility with you adding your own travel programs as an upsell. Because if you're going to the UK for a game, you're not going to just make a quick 3-night stay out of it. You're going to do something where you want to be there a little bit longer. And these packages, like the previous ones I mentioned, include the game ticket, the hotel lodging. We do provide Oyster card for metro transportation in the UK via the London Tube. And then we also provide what would be a London Pass, which is good for many sightseeing attractions throughout the city so they could take time, do their sightseeing, go to the game, and have a great time with it. Now let's jump into a few sample travel packages. Now, what I'm going to be highlighting here are the big 4 that we've had a lot of interest in so far for this season. We have had great success with these programs. There's new features for each one of these I want to highlight, which is why I'm going through all 4 of them today for the webinar. To start, I want to talk about our Packers program. So for the Green Bay Packers for this season, we're offering a travel package with lodging at the Radisson Hotel Green Bay. This is the official team hotel for the Packers. It doesn't mean that the Packers are guaranteed to stay here, but the hotel does have that official designation, which is a really neat selling point you could tell clients. As well, packages include their tickets to the game day transfers, a pregame tailgate party with an open bar and buffet, and a guided stadium tour of iconic Lambeau Field, which diehard Packers fans love. And then at the end of that tour, they also get admission to the Packers Hall of Fame, which is located right there at the stadium. And new for this year is our Packers Heritage Tour across Green Bay. Just to highlight this new Heritage Tour, this is a great option for diehard Packers fans that are going on this trip or people that are history buffs and enjoy that component of, the NFL, I guess, history, which is that, the Green Bay Packers are a historic franchise. They're celebrating the centennial as well. And with the Heritage Tour is a 90-minute trolley bus tour throughout Green Bay, showcasing 22 areas that are important in terms of Packers history. These sites that they're going to view would be Vince Lombardi's home, Curly Lambeau's childhood home, the packing plant in Bellevue Park where the Packers were actually founded, and then a visit to City Stadium, which is the original home of the Packers. They actually were playing there from 1925 to 1956, and then that also includes a stop in downtown Green Bay. So it's a really good opportunity for your clients. If they're coming in early the day before the game, it's a great way for them to get their bearings around the city of Green Bay, take in a lot of the city's history, do a lot of sightseeing, and I think it really increases the comfort level before a game day. And it's also a really exciting tour that we've had great feedback on, that people are very interested in attending, and we've had good feedback on a handful of people that have done this the previous year, which is part of the reason we've unrolled it or unveiled it for this season for all of our programs as an add-on. So I think any type of diehard Packers fan will really enjoy it, and I highly recommend it as a good value add for somebody that's getting there a little bit early, or they're adding a few extra nights to the package and they need additional activities to do. And let's talk about our Seattle Seahawks program. This is a team that has been growing in popularity for us, not just among Seahawks fans that are trying to go to Seattle to see a game, but also for a lot of away fans that want the opportunity to see a game at CenturyLink Field and hear the crowd. That's probably one of the most famous things about the Seahawks franchise, is that they're known for having just an amazing crowd, a very loud stadium, really awesome game day atmosphere, and that draws a lot of people in. For Seahawks program for this year, we're highlighting the hotel stay at the Spring Hill Suites by Marriott, Seattle downtown. It's a great location in the heart of the city with a lot of activities nearby. The base ticket in the package you can see is upper level end zone corner. We do have upgrades available. So like I said earlier in the webinar, we're very flexible with this. If the client wants a different ticket, we could definitely get it priced out for them. And there is a pregame touchdown city party, which is a really fun activity hosted by the Seahawks. There's going to be, concessions set up. There's mascot appearances by, any type of Seattle Seahawks alumni. The other really neat thing about that program is that the actual local Seattle radio station, the sports station, they actually do an on-site broadcast from the pregame touchdown city, which is really neat. So it's an awesome game day atmosphere that a lot of clients get a kick out of when they go there. Like I said, with the player appearances, there is an opportunity to get an autograph signature, see the Seahawks cheerleaders, see the mascot. So overall, a really great pregame event. And then just some other inclusions that kind of wrap up that package. You have your late daily breakfast. You have a round-trip shuttle service that's provided from the airport. So, it's a really good overall program. One of the reasons we wanted to feature it is, like I said, in the previous years, we've seen this grow in interest, and it's definitely something I want to highlight because I think this is going to be a really big year for the Seahawks program for both Seahawks fans and away fans traveling to Seattle to see a game. And our very big one, the Dallas Cowboys. This is going to be our 19th year offering this travel package. This is the original sports traveler travel package, Dallas Cowboys travel. So for this program for this year, we have lodging at the Hilton Arlington, a great full service property located about 2 miles from AT&T Stadium. The other lodging option is the Sheraton Fort Worth, which we offer as a 2-night, and new for this year, we offer the Sheraton Fort Worth as a 1-night program, which is great for people that live in the local area and want to just do a 1-night. So maybe they're just driving in for the day, they want to go to the game, have a place to spend the night, and then they leave the next day. Perfect option to do that. New for this year. I highly recommend it for people that have an agency in Texas and they have a client that wants to go to the Cowboys game and they want to do more than just the ticket and that's it. This is more of a full travel experience that includes the pregame tailgate party with Eddie Dean's Texas-style barbecue. The pregame party has player appearances by Cowboys legend Bill Bates, who is available for autographs. He does a chalk talk with everybody before the game where he talks about the matchup, his playing career. It's a really neat experience before the game. There's also a full open bar, unlimited beverages, which includes beer, margaritas, soft drinks, and water. Round-trip game day transportations included for both the 2 and the 1-night programs. And then for the 2-night, there also is a private, fully guided AT&T Stadium tour, which is a really neat crescendo event, as I like to call it. It's the day after the game. It kind of wraps that whole tour together because we do one final visit to the stadium after the game is over, and we get to go to a lot of places you would normally never see on game day, such as, the Cowboys locker room. We'll start to go to the suite level. We typically look at the field. We'll usually get field access. I say about maybe 80-90% of the time we do have access to the field. It is always up to the stadium's discretion, but it's definitely one of those things that really ties the whole weekend together for everybody. And no matter if you're a fan of the Cowboys or not, it's just really neat to see the state-of-the-art stadium up close and personal. And then included with our travel packages, we do have a round trip shuttle service that's provided from DFW Airport. And then for other people that might be flying into Love Field, we have that available too as an add on. So let's jump into our Steelers program. So for the Pittsburgh Steelers for this season, we have a new hotel we wanted to unveil, and that is the Embassy Suites downtown Pittsburgh. So for this property, what we wanted to kind of showcase about it is that it's a new property. It's a recently built Embassy Suites. You get all the benefits of the Embassy Suites brand with the clients that are staying here. So that includes your daily cook to order breakfast. That's going to include what would be your evening reception. All the rooms are going to be a suite style room, so everyone has a little bit more space to spread out, which is really neat. Like all of our other packages, it's going to include a game ticket with the option to do ticket upgrades if the client's looking for a better area to be seated in the stadium. And then one other really neat feature is that this game has a really unique way we actually travel to the stadium and pregame, and that is our 2-hour pregame boat cruise party. On board, we do have a former NFL player appearance, which is typically a Steelers player that's on board. It's a really nice, intimate setting on the boat, so your client has the opportunity to interact with the player, talk to them, get an autograph signed, get a photo with them. It's a really neat way to start the day. And then as the boat gets moving, we do have a pregame meal that's set up on board, as well as a full bar. We'll have music that's going to be streaming throughout the boat as well. So it's a really fun atmosphere. And then we dock right outside of Heinz Field. And once we're outside of Heinz Field, we actually will get off the boat there. It's a really short walk right to the stadium gate, and then everybody gets to go and enjoy the game. One other new thing we're really excited to announce for this year is for the first time with our Steelers program, our fully guided tour of Heinz Field will now be year-round. In previous years, we were limited to only doing the warm weather months for Heinz Field Stadium Tour. We now can offer the stadium tour for the months of November and December, which is a really great thing because people that now can book, or people that choose to book games later in the year, can take part in the guided Heinz Field Stadium Tour. And, similar to that Cowboys tour, we see a lot of really unique things about the stadium. We see some of the suites that are set up, the club level. We'll actually go into the Steelers locker room. You can kind of see the photo right there. And besides the Steelers locker room, we also will visit the Pitt locker room, which is the local college football team that plays at Heinz Field. So it's another really great crescendo event that takes place that is a great way to kind of tie the weekend together. Great for people to go out, take photos while they're on the trip and kind of show, hey, look at me. I made it to the stadium. I'm here in the locker room. A lot of people get a kick out of that, and it's a really good time for everybody. Now, we went over our top 4 programs. If you didn't see the team you necessarily want to offer, it doesn't mean we don't carry it. We do carry every NFL team. And typically, for programs, if you don't see it online, like I said, we can custom build it. But for a lot of other teams, we already have travel packages put together that are online. So I would definitely suggest going to the website, sportstraveler.net, going to our football page, and then viewing all the teams and packages we have available. And kind of bouncing off of that, here are some top football getaways that have really been standing out this season as the most requested trips or ones we've had a lot of fan interest in. As you can kind of see here, there's a little bit of a trend here with games in Miami for the Dolphins. The first one, that November 17th Patriots and Dolphins game, that is a fantastic rivalry between two franchises. One thing that really stands out about this, or one thing you might notice, is it's a lot of cold weather teams in New England and Philly that are traveling to a warm weather destination. That's a trend you're going to see a lot because for a lot of these fans, they could see a game at home and kind of freeze watching and cheering their team, or they can go to Miami, have a nice sunny getaway, and have a great time cheering on their same team, but in a nice, warm, tropical environment. So I think that's why a lot of people really like doing these Dolphins games. That's why you see the Patriots and Dolphins being very popular this year. Same with the Eagles at Dolphins. One other thing I want to point out is if you have a fan traveling to one of these, that's a good opportunity to upsell. If you have any type of cruise programs that depart from Florida, it's a really good add-on. You can kind of extend the tour that way, or any type of family trips you might offer in the Orlando area, whether that might be something that's Disney related, Universal, or something like that. It's just more ways to put a value add onto the package if someone's already going to Florida to see a Dolphins game. The other big game this year is the Cowboys at Patriots, November 24th. This is a a huge matchup. It's going to be one that takes your Super Bowl champion from last season, the New England Patriots, and puts them against America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. We have had a ton of people interested in this game. We've had a lot of people reach out about it. We've had a good number of, already people that have reserved their spot on this program. If you live among these two fan bases, I highly recommend you highlight this program at your office. Let people know you are offering it. We've had so much interest already in it. And even if you don't necessarily live near these two fan bases, the Cowboys and Patriots are definitely two teams that have fans just about everywhere. So you never know when someone might come into the office and request it. That Cowboys Patriots game too, similar to their other programs, you're going to have your hotel lodging, the game tickets. We have a great pregame party right outside of Gillette Stadium that includes an oyster bar. We have Patriots alumni appearances included in there as well. So it's going to be a great time. I think everyone's going to really get a kick out of it. I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of people there, and that is going to be kind of wrapping up our top football getaways for the 2019 season. So my favorite part of the webinar, I like to jump into our Q&A, the question and answer session. So this is going to be the part where if you have any questions that you have had or you have right now after seeing the webinar, I could definitely answer those for you. One question I do commonly get is, when we look at the Cowboys program, what stands out between that Sheraton Fort Worth and the Hilton Arlington? How do you choose where to put a client? Or, what's really the difference between the two properties? I think both are excellent hotels to stay at. They're two full-service properties. The big thing I tell people is if they're looking for more of a game day atmosphere, I usually recommend they stay at the Hilton Arlington. That's hotel is about 2 miles from the stadium. It's in the heart of the Arlington Entertainment District. So if they're looking for really they're strictly going for the game, they want that game day atmosphere, the game day excitement, I say go with the Hilton. That's the option for you. Now, if you're looking for something that's got a little bit more of Texas flair to it, it has a little bit more of that Western feel, I would say the Sheraton Fort Worth. That option I would choose because it's in the heart of downtown Fort Worth. You have the rodeo, the stockyards are right there in the city. The hotel itself is within walking distance of Sundance Square, which is a great place to go to get dinner, experience some of the nightlife of Fort Worth. I mean, people really get a kick out of that. So I think it really depends on what type of experience your client's looking for. If they want to really celebrate that Texas heritage and enjoy that Western hospitality, I 100% recommend do the Fort Worth property, stay at the Sheraton. And if they're there strictly for the game and they want the game day feel, do the Hilton Arlington. They'll enjoy it just as much as everybody else. Another common question that we get among people that are traveling with us, or we typically will have is, do the stadium tours always include field access? That's a really good question. Field access on these tours, one thing I want to tell people is it's always up to the stadium's discretion. So it is the stadium's choice whether or not they are allowed to go onto the field. Sometimes these stadiums have other events that take place. That can include maybe a concert that's going to happen there. They might have a college game or a high school game that's also going to take place. And when that happens, they typically need the field for maintenance purposes, or they might need to swap out what's on the field. So it's not always guaranteed that if there's a stadium tour included, you could also get on the field. But I would say probably about 80% of the time, field access is included. But I would just always be careful when talking to your client about this and just let them know, it's typically part of the package. However, the field may be closed off on certain weekends, depending on, if the stadium has another event going on. So just a good way to temper expectations and not, oversell something. The other question that looks like we had was, when we have group travel requests, how do we handle that, and what would justify a group? It's a really good question. So for a group travel request, we consider a group 20 or more travelers taking up 10 or more rooms. Typically, once you get to that number of people traveling, we could look into things like getting a group rate put together for you. That's more typical for corporate or, corporate incentive trips. So if you have a lot of that kind of business that goes through your agency, I typically recommend with a large group request, you want to call us directly, let us know the numbers you're looking at, what they might be looking for in terms of the trip, and then we can get something custom quoted. For people that don't have a group quite that big, I always tell people book as you go. So as you have these orders come in and you have a client that's ready to make a payment on something, I always recommend, get them locked in now, get them booked, put the money on the deposit and get them locked in, because you want to not have them walk away without the purchase. You want to get them locked in. You want them to take the trip. So as you get the order, give us a call, place the order online. And from there, you can know that client is confirmed. And then any additional travelers you might have, you just can call them in as they come in and they're ready to make payment. So that's another really good question. Let's take a look. I know sometimes there's a little bit of a lag between now and what we see in the chat window. So I'm just trying to take a look here and see if we have any other questions that have come in. Let's see here. It don't look like we have too many others. I mean, even if you don't have a question, or let's say you're not really seeing it right now, I don't want you to worry if you can't think of, okay, what do I want to ask? No pressure. One good thing, we can kind of see it on the screen right now. You have a number you can reach us by, so feel free to call us toll free. If you do have a question on something as well, you could shoot us an email at sales@sportstraveler.net. So if you do have any questions, like I said, feel free to reach out. Let me know. You can even ask for me directly, Jake@SportsTraveler. When you call, I'll be more than happy to talk with you. And I think on that note, I know we don't have looks like too many other questions. So yeah, I just want to thank everyone for attending today's webinar. I really look forward to working with a lot of you this season. And actually, before I wrap up, we did get one question that just popped in, and I do want to answer it because it's a good one. And this is from Lee Higginbottom. And the question is there a payment plan option? Great question. Yes, there is a payment plan. Most of our packages are going to be a little bit different with how payments are structured, but typically what the payments require is a small deposit at the time of booking. Usually the deposit varies between maybe 100 to 150 per person, depends on the program. Then the second payment is due. Second payment date is usually on average about 90 days prior to the game, and that's about half the remaining balance. And then final payment is due about 60 days prior to the game, and that is the remaining cost due on the package. So that's typically how payments are structured for NFL travel packages. That's a really good question. And see if anything else came in. Does not look like it, but like I said, if you do have another question, feel free to reach out. Well, I want to thank everybody for attending the webinar today. It was really fun hosting it. I hope you got some great information out of it. And if you do need anything else, like I said, I'm always here to help. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.